All right, you ready to get into this? Okay, first comment, K Slugger. You say Ethiopia is Babylon, you dumbass. And you're responding to our brother 5213349. All right? Go read a history book and the Bible. Well, obviously, K Slugger needs to read a history book and the Bible. He's probably referring to what the Jews, the so-called Edomites, the so-called Ottoman Turks, you understand, the ones who have robbed our heritage, have been teaching all these lies about Nimrod. They'll say Nimrod was an evil man and Nimrod built a tower, so forth and so on. The Bible don't say none of that. The Bible don't say none of that. The Bible say that some ones came from the east. They found a plain in the land of Shinar. You understand? And they did what? Now, if you're coming from Ethiopia, now you have to understand this very carefully. If you're coming from Ethiopia, what's known as Ethiopia today, and you're going to Iraq, you are coming from the west. For example, if I come from, let's say, Liberia, I'm traveling from Liberia. I'm going to Ethiopia. You understand? What direction am I coming from? What direction? Am I coming from the east? Even though Liberia, you understand, and West Africa is eastward from America. But if I'm already in West Africa, I'm traveling from West Africa, you understand, to East Africa. I'm traveling towards the east. I'm not coming from the east. You know what I'm saying to you? So now understand this. If you look at a map and you're coming from Ethiopia, or at least what people believe was Ethiopia, even though the geography is a little different in that day and time, but it's generally the same, and you're going to Babylon, you'll be coming from the west. Now the Bible clearly says that Nimrod was a mighty hunter before the Lord. It's the so-called Jews that be lying. You know why they be lying? For the same reason why they don't want to admit you, my Hebrew Israelite brother, is a Hebrew Israelite. Why they don't want to admit that I are Hebrew Israelites, that the black people are the true lost sheep of the house of Israel. Because they want to lie on everything that black people have done significantly and positively. If you can point one verse in the Bible. Now, the Bible is a very interesting book. The Bible is not ashamed to point out who was an evildoer. You understand? Who was a wrongdoer. If Nimrod was an evil man, just ask this question to yourself. How come the Bible doesn't say it? How come you have to read all this rubbish, this anti-Nimrod, anti-Cush, and really anti-black rubbish? You understand? But you know what happens when the so-called Hebrew Israelites curse? You understand? The Ethiopian, they're falling into the same trap that Miriam, you remember Miriam in the Bible? You remember up to Miriam and Aaron? You understand? When they cursed the Ethiopian wife of Moses, what happened to them? They were cursed. Yahweh didn't like that. You understand? Because Yahweh had a special relationship with the Ethiopians. Why? Because Ethiopia is in the territory, you understand? The divine territory, the Holy Land territory given to the children of Abraham. You didn't know that. No one ever taught you that. You never looked at the map. So who's really dumbass now? Think about it for a moment. Look at the map. From the river of Egypt, which is the same, by the way, as the river of Ethiopia, because the two rivers flow into each other. You understand? So from one perspective, he says the river of Egypt. And the next perspective, another prophet says the river of Ethiopia. It's the same river. That river goes all the way down to South Africa. And wow, guess what we find in South Africa? We find black peoples. You understand? We find black peoples who identify themselves as being Israelites. You understand? Ones who have a more intimate knowledge of them being Israelites than your dumbasses who ended up in the trans-Ethiopian slave trade. Think about it for a moment. Come on. Facts are facts. Facts are hard things to dismiss. Let's look at Genesis 15 and 18 for a moment. Let's go to Genesis. So we start out with Exodus 15. You understand? We're not playing numbers games here, but you know, you can see the divine mathematics in it for yourself. Let's go to Genesis 15 for a moment. In Genesis 15, verse 18, it says, in the same day, Yahweh made a covenant with Abraham, actually Abram, saying, to thy seed have I given this land from the river of Egypt. From the river of Egypt. Do you think that Yahweh has respect for modern day foreign borders? These borders you see. So no, Egypt stops there because that's Sudan. You think Yahweh looks at it like that? You think Yahweh really viewed it like that? Oh no, the border stops right there. They're gonna put a border there 1,000 years later. Come on. Let's have some respect for our God and King of Kings. You understand? No, he says, unto thy seed have I given this land from the river of Egypt. Trace that river. Trace it. Get a good map and trace it to the great river, the river Euphrates, to the border of Babylon. So Ethiopia, you understand? Remember, Moses' wife, you understand, was a Ethiopian. You understand? When Miriam, an Israelite, and Aaron, an Israelite, cursed Moses' wife, an Ethiopian, they got a curse. And what was that curse? Leprosy. Isn't leprosy something like turning white? So these so-called white Jews may well be some of the disobedient Israelites who lost their skin. Of course, you're going to disagree with it, but the Bible says right there that Miriam, you understand, got leprosy. Look at that. She got leprosy. Aaron was spared. Yahweh has his reasons for that, but Miriam had to be put outside the camp because her skin started to change color, and all that was because she cursed the Ethiopians. So you gotta watch it. When you say Ethiopia being Babylon, you dumbass, go read a history book in the Bible. Obviously, you haven't read the Bible, or you read it. You haven't studied. You understand geology. You understand or geography. You understand? You haven't studied geography very well and looked at the map. You understand? So that whole eastern portion of Africa, where the river, remember, Yahweh's borders are the rivers. He's looking at that river from Egypt, going all the way down to Sudan, going all the way down through modern day Ethiopia, going all the way down to where the Limba people are in South Africa, to be that land given to his seed. What does seed mean? Seed mean his race. You understand? So when you say, fuck, C-U-C-K, Africa, think about it for a moment. You are the real dumb ASS. That's point one. That's the first point right there. You understand? Like I said.